Wonderful. Actually, wait, real quick. Let me do a little take one. All right. How about you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name's Trevor Hayes. I'm from Springfield, Pennsylvania, but I've been here in Delaware since 1975. I've been in the sewing machine business since 1965. So I'm in my 55th year of business, which is somewhat of a record when you think of the short time people are in business. And I'm in business with my wife, Mary, and I have 3 daughters that are in the business with us. So these are the repairs that are in here for service now. They've come in the last few days. These are parts from the old machines that I have taken apart. Just feet off of the machine, people lose these. Guy needs a screw. I said, here's 3 of these boxes. You can have them. You have to spend the time looking through them for yourself. Well, I was originally from Western Pennsylvania. I lived on a dairy farm all my life. So when I was 6 years old, I was up at 5 in the morning milking cows. And I was driving a tractor when I was 8 years old. So I always had good skills along those lines. I used to live in Alaska. In Sitka, Alaska, I worked for the Japanese in a paper pulp mill running big banding equipment. So when I went back to college in Colorado, then I started fixing sewing machines and selling sewing machines door to door. And over here I have, up on top, I have one from 1940. The one over on the end, the 730, is the one I sold door to door when I put myself through college back in the 60s. So I think to myself, and all the fabric that we have is good fabric that we would use ourselves. And I think to myself, my daughters have made all of the samples that you see here. But I've enjoyed, being self-employed for all these years. And even though I'm 80 years old, I'm still planning on working another 20 years. So, but it's been always enjoyable. And I only work 48 hours a week. When I was in another time frame, I used to work 70 hours a week. So I am partially retired now. And in the industry, we're somewhat of a leader in the industry. I say that with humility, just because 55 years in business, most people aren't in business that long. And we're also elected to the Sewing Hall of Fame. I think we still, the pricing is because I came from a large family and didn't have any money. I still have empathy for that. I never grew up from that. I always got a big kick. People in my contemporaries, you go to the conventions, and I have a hearing aid. I was listening to the machine, so I put my earphones on. So then I run the machine, and then I can go around and I can listen to what's going on inside the machine. Then all of a sudden I can hear something's not quite right, so I can isolate the problems. My contemporaries used to ask me if I was some type of doctor, but now they use them too, because that helps to refine where the origin of the problem is in the sewing machine. You can see here how we strip them down to service them. And I've always liked to go to the factory where they're starting from nothing and then adding the components. So when a person brings in a sewing machine for repair, we can fix anything because we've seen them when they were down to really nothing. And my daughters are excellent mechanics. We each have our own specialty. With the old machines, they call me to do it. My one daughter does the big 10-needle embroidery machines, and then my other daughter does one of the big electronic machines. But if we all get our heads together, we can basically solve any problem that comes up with a sewing machine. Since they have also been to the factories, they see how they're made. But we're, like when I first came back from Colorado to Clifton Heights in Philadelphia and all that, there's probably 12 dealers. Uh, but then they've all gone by the wayside. Now it's just me and Joanne Fabrics. The rest have all gone. And I'm the only one in the whole area that can actually fix machines that are made in the 1800s, because we've always specialized in doing that. But some machines have an emotional appeal. We've had, I had a lady not too long ago, they had a 1953 FOF. And I used to be, again, a FOF advisor out of Germany in the 1980. But these three girls came in, they had their machine right there. And I said, the nice thing about this, it was their mother's machine. They remember as little children playing at her feet while she sewed on this machine. Well, mother died a couple months before that. And they came in and they wanted to get this machine fixed. They had gone to a couple places and they said, oh, that old piece of junk, it can't be fixed. They brought it in to me and I said, yes, I can fix that. I said, the nice thing about this machine, your mother actually had her hand right there. She's no longer here, but you can still put your hand where her hand was. And they all three started crying, because sewing machines are an emotional thing. People can remember somebody making something for them. And a lot of the old machines that we fix, people want to keep them because it's a remembrance of the person who actually used it. I'm the only one that seems to have that emotion. The rest of it all is dollars and cents. But I'd like to keep the old ones running too. And I think this is where I am different than anybody else in the United States. I try to keep the old machines running, because if I keep your old machine running, then people, when they're going to buy a new machine, they know I'll be around to take care of their new machine. I think that's the name of the game, is make everybody happy. One time I had a fella, you remember, you knew who Charles Atlas was? He was the guy that, big dude, he could lift 500 pounds. He came in the store and he had a machine that weighed 30 pounds. And I said, can I carry it out for you? He said, okay, that'd be fine. I carried the machine out for this big guy, and he says, I want to shake your hand. He says, thank you very much for not having me to explain why I look like I lift a ton. I can't lift 50 pounds because I've had back surgery. So always assume that somebody has something wrong with them, and then just be courteous. My wife, for example, has never opened a car door. I always opened a car door for her. When we were dating, I opened a car door. Well, once you're married, they figured you're going to continue to do the same thing. This stack will be sold in about 6 weeks. We really don't make any money on these. But however, what's happening is I'm gaining a lifetime customer. What is the lifetime value of the customer? Person finally comes in my store. We give a machine that's there, we don't make any money on, but it's a really great machine. Then whenever they decide they want to get another machine, where are they going to go? They're going to go back to somebody who treated them nicely. And again, I find that the lack of courtesy is really one of the biggest things that we see in today's world. You probably notice that yourself. And I think to myself, my mother made us boys open the barn doors for our sisters. She said, always be courteous. We may be dumb farm folk, but if we're courteous, we can do well. And that has, I think, a large degree has been the success of our business, the courtesy that we have. Like, for example, it's sort of a side point, when I travel to Europe, I always wear a suit. The last time I flew to Paris, there's an American with pajamas on. Really? I think to myself, dress the best you can. And I think to myself, when you go to Europe, make a good impression of you as an American. The bottom line is we try to help everybody solve their problems. And if we don't have the solution, send them to somebody who has the solution. And people really appreciate that, because in today's world, it's so impersonal that people just don't get the help. We have one over here. The dogs. So, can you decide which one is me? The one with the glasses. And I think that's one of the great things about being in business. You enjoy what you do. You can have a good sense of humor and always be courteous. And I think that's how you survive in life. And people really enjoy your being here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The other question?
I think we're
more than
yeah,
good.
we're all more than all set. This
Yeah.
is supposed to be like 5 to 7 minutes. We've got like
Oh, you can
26 minutes.
26.
yeah, we got plenty to work with.
Honestly,
That was
it didn't-
amazing.
It didn't feel like 26 minutes. That was a wonderful conversation. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We're good.